here from the Karate Unit channel. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, our content focuses on cross-training in other arts and combat sports to make your base art better. And in my case, it's karate. We are a teaching and learning collective here based in Toronto, Canada, focusing on cross-training in traditional martial arts, combat sports, and tactical combatives. So today we have our podcast edition. So welcome back, 2023. This is it. We have a special guest, TJ Williams from Niagara Falls. He's Niagara Falls, New York. He's a 4th degree black belt in the Chuck Norris system and an instructor at Presti Karate Centers in Niagara Falls in Lewiston, New York. He's also a fellow podcaster, a fitness instructor, and independent pro wrestler. Really interesting guy. I really want to give you guys a chance to talk to him. So here we go. Take it away. Thank you, TJ, for coming. How you doing today?
Oh, real well. I mean, I just love the weekends, like no work and then just relaxing. Mm,
Oh yeah, man. That's it. Work hard, play hard, you know?
yeah.
So how was your week, man? Tell us what you do this week.
Well, of course, yeah, just doing my normal job, like teaching, just covering for my instructor who's out for like medical leave. So I'm
Right.
just making sure, yeah. And of course, I just did a job interview for a new job, so hopefully I get that. So hopefully when I get the call back, I'll get the job. Yeah.
Well, positive vibes your way, man. Fingers crossed for you. Who don't know who you are, where could we find you online? And if you want to share some of the school details of where you train and this and that, go ahead.
All right. So for me, I trained at Presi Karate Center. Of course, we've been around for like say the the late 70s, or at least the late 70s or early 70s. I mean, of course, our website is kind of not updated, but of course, we have two locations. There's one in Niagara Falls and other in Lewiston. So the one I train at is Niagara Falls location. So if you want to look up the Presi Karate Center you can look at Instagram as well as Facebook. Just type in Presi Karate Center, and of course, if you want to look up my information, of course, I have Instagram Arcade ARKADE. Sorry,
That's okay.
and of course, I also got another Instagram the Kick Pod. So yeah, so I got that both on Facebook and Instagram. So if you want to look me up, mostly Instagram, then feel free.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll put those links in the video in the description. I'll put all those links in
Right.
there. So yeah,
Right.
appreciate that. Yeah, man. I this one for one, man. I was on yours and now you're on mine. This is great. So
Yep.
cool, man. So um the journey. I'm always interested in finding, people's journey. If you remember, my journey was basically bullying. I got into it because I got bullied, but I'd like to know, what inspired you to get into this whole martial art game, man.
Well, I say I grew up around like TV shows, movies, video games, anything that involved the martial arts. Let's face it, to me, that felt like it was powerful. I mean, as a kid, but that's the thing about media. That's what media does. It's like it makes things powerful. So for me, if you knew some type of martial arts style, you were unstoppable. So I mean, really, like I always thought I can actually throw fire out my hand or actually bust a brick wall through with my bare hands. So, but yeah, but like nowadays, it's like there's more to martial arts than just like, well, let's just say, look at this way. It's no, it's not the style that makes you powerful. It's like the way you treat the style that makes it powerful. I mean, I don't have to go out there and prove that I can beat somebody up, but it's just the powerful thing about martial arts is like it gets you out of your shell. I was, of course, that one kid with ADHD. I mean, because
Mm,
I felt like I can't call it a disability. I say it's a learning limitation.
yeah,
It's like I can learn, but it was like certain things that I felt like it was like autism. It's like you get back to your shell when you feel like it's hard for you to do, but it's like martial arts pretty much got me out of that shell. And, I went from being a person that's shy to be go in front of everybody to somebody that can perform to in front of like 1,000 people like it's nothing. So I felt like that was my inspiration to get into martial arts.
that's oh wow, that's cool, man. So I just want to do a deeper dive into that. So
Yeah.
you first started off by saying it's media. So TV show, a movie, like was there a particular TV show or a movie or something that triggered you to triggered your interest? What was that?
Well, I gotta say, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was almost like
Yeah,
my go. That was like my almost go-to cartoon that I always watch. And it was like around the '90s that I got. And I know I wasn't even like old enough to watch it from when it was started in the like early 1978 or something. It started, but I was like 4 years old, and I always was watching Ninja Turtles, and I wish I still had the two VHS tapes that I got from Burger King. I still
yeah,
remember
man.
those. Yeah, I mean, definitely the neighborhood I was living in, that was like the closest fast food restaurant I went to. Not that I didn't go to McDonald's, but Burger King. That's where mostly I go when like there's like nice things like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think that was around the time when the movie came out, the live action movie.
Was that
Yeah.
was that that particular show that you watched, that version of Ninja Turtles, was the Reyes, was Ernie Reyes in that one? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the Ernie
Filipino American, yeah.
Yeah, I think he wasn't the first one. He dressed up as Donatello, and I know he wasn't the second one because he played. I think he was dressed up as Donatello. Then he played the character Kino. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so Ninja Turtles got you in, and then now I just wanted to drill down a little deeper. So having the exceptionality, or learning style of ADHD, and I respect that because I'm an educator, if you remember, and I deal with
yeah.
all kinds of learning styles and students with different types of exceptionalities. That's the way we kind of call it, and differences in learning styles. What about martial arts would you say empowered you? So you said, like, for example, you mentioned one thing, it gave you the power to teach and talk in front of, you know, people, right? But what about it? Like, what's that? Was it an activity? Was it a training exercise? Was it the teacher? Was it being around other people like you? Like, what was it that gave you that power to break or deal with your ADHD better?
Well, I could say it's probably like the instructors. I had like a good instructor or even a bad instructor, but mostly it's the good instructor that like told me it's okay to mess up. But you got some of those other instructors says like mostly if you me- if you mess up, they get angry at you. So I guess there was certain instructors that I had that like were like it's like those teachers that like if you act up, they'll probably beat you up kind of thing. But I had those instructors that pretty much cared of how I was, and they kind of worked around it, and then that got me the courage to actually not just to straighten up, but just get myself out there. And there was times that if I had to do something in front of the class, I try not to get too nervous about it. But after doing that a couple more times, it become like second nature. It's like if I go up and perform, like nowadays, if I go up to perform in front of people, it's like everybody disappears. I actually do what I actually want to do, and then I'm done with it. It's like that's pretty much the way I look at it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, from what I'm getting is your instructors, man, the power of having, a good mentor and an understanding teacher, that's what did it for you, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Same here. When I found martial arts, like, karate as a kid. I told you I was bullied a lot, but when I came into that environment, everything was level because there were other kids like me, and my teacher accepted me for who I am, and there was no judgment there. It was hard, but but so I'm making that connection. I'm with you on that one. um
yeah.
yeah, so since we're talking about martial arts and martial arts teachers and things, tell us quickly about your training background. I understand you're into Korean styles, and you come from the Chuck Norris system, but I'd like to do a little deep dive about that. So go ahead.
Yeah, so when I first started, like I've been in martial arts for 26 years now. So when I started, I thought it was like I was trained in Taekwondo or something or other style, but I never really asked what the style was. I just did what I was taught. But
Yeah.
I mean, just by the time I started, I thought that the school that I was with actually Chuck Norris actually trained there, but because I seen pictures all over the wall, and I'm
Yep.
thinking that Chuck Norris taught at the school, but at the same time, it was like around late 1996. And I think about it, Chuck Norris was doing Walker Texas Ranger at that time, and I think it was the beginning of season 4. So there's no possible way he can like be at my school and teach. But it would have been nice that if he did. But no, I'll be telling people that I was trained by Chuck Norris.
How
But
old is how old
that,
is Chuck right now, by the way?
so if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 82, or
Oh,
I think he's
wow.
either 82, and I think or he's going to be 83 this year. So yeah,
He looks amazing still, man. Yeah.
yeah.
So Chuck Norris was your main teacher, or like I just want to understand the relationship between you and Chuck Norris.
Well, actually, my instructor, my master instructor, he was actually trained by Chuck Norris, like
I
in
see.
the late 70s. Before he was trained by Pat Johnson.
Okay.
Before Pat Johnson moved to California to be trained by Chuck Norris, and of course, Pat Johnson asked my instructor to like come to California and train with Chuck Norris. So that's how we end up becoming the like training the Chuck Norris style. Like at first it was called the Chuck Norris system, then it was changed to Chung Cut Do, which means the universal way, and then it's back to the Chuck Norris system.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's pretty much the whole story of the style. So I wasn't trained by Chuck Norris, but
I see.
well, and well, in true fact, I actually took the seminar of Chuck Norris back when I first went to the convention in 2006. So
Yeah.
the same convention that Kun Lee was, and then
Right.
Chuck Norris was teaching the seminar also. Yeah,
So what's Chuck like as a martial artist and as a teacher? So let's talk about his skills, because I I mean I only knew, to be honest, I only knew about Chuck through Way of the Dragon, man. I first found out about him through. Have you seen that movie, Way of the Dragon? Bruce Lee's Way of the Dragon.
yeah,
You, you must have seen that.
yeah,
Please tell me you've seen that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah. I actually did like a TikTok video of Chuck Norris putting like a technique on Bruce Lee, and I kind of imitate at a gym, almost like a switch thing. So yeah, if anybody looks on Insta or TikTok, I'm on there too. So you'll see a video of Chuck Norris doing like a technique on Bruce Lee, and I'm imitating it.
Cool,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. So, like, do you remember that? Remember that scene at the fight scene at the Coliseum, in
Oh
Italy?
yeah,
Do
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
yep.
That was a famous fight
Hmm.
scene, right? Like, I never knew about Chuck since that fight scene, and then I started following him. His movies and this and that. But so yeah, tell me about him as a martial artist first, and then we can talk about his teaching style.
Oh man, he's pretty much a humble guy. So I was excited to actually have a picture with him in 2006. And I mean, when I first had a photograph with him, because at the convention, like the last day of the convention, we have like a photo op. So we have a picture with him and his brother Aaron, that they both trained in the oh, I shouldn't even call him Chuck Norris. I should call him Grandmaster Norris. I mean, that's the respect I have for him, like
Yeah,
him and his brother. And I took my first photo op with him, and I'm sitting here with my hands right in front of me, because with celebrities, I want to be careful. You know how celebrities are. But people like get too crazy and get. You know how people are when they get crazy when they see the celebrity.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like cool, calm, and collective. I take my pictures. And then the second time I actually took a picture with him, it was like after I got my second degree. It was like 2010. I did the same thing, and then Chuck Norris says like, "This is there something wrong with me? Put your arms around me." It's like I felt that that's like the permission to actually like do that. So,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know, that I think he kind of had to warm up to me a little bit, because he doesn't know everybody in our organization of UFAF, which is the United Fine Arts Federation.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, pretty much throughout the years, he pretty much uh, found out who I was, and then it kind of like every time I see him, he gives me a hug. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
so it's kind of like that's that respect. Yeah.
So he's a personal guy. So that's cool. But now, how about his technical ability? How would you say his kicking, punching, striking? I even heard I heard he's a pretty high ranking grappler too. I heard he's into grappling. So if you can comment a little bit about, from your opinion, what's his technical ability like?
Of course, other than being trained in his own style, I mean, of course, he trained in Tang Sudo, and from what I heard from the stories, he trained well while he was stationed in the army or the military, I should say. I don't know what he served in the military, but he would train in Korea to learn Tang Sudo, and from there, from what I heard, I think he failed this first black belt test. So I
Oh,
usually hear that story that
yeah.
he was failed his first black belt test, and then from there, I would hear that he was a competitor, and I guess nobody couldn't beat him. So this is before he would got into movies,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then from there he would have the Chuck Norris team, and he got all these martial artists that were on his team, and it seemed like all his team was like undefeated
Yeah.
from what I heard.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yes, and going into there, like you like mentioned, that he did like grappling. Yeah, that's where he like kind of trained with either the Machados or the Gracies.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that I've heard stories that he would since he got so famous that he actually like bought a studio for or a school for the Machados
Oh,
or the Gracies because because he trained with them so much
yeah.
and I
Paying it
guess
forward.
I
Yeah.
guess he pretty much he pretty much did them a favor. So yeah, that was pretty much what I got from his training background. And also just heads up, you know how he does like his stunts in Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the secret of that yeah, so there's another guy in our organization. He's retired now. His name is Chip Wright.
Hmm.
He looks exactly like Chuck Norris, but a lot smaller.
Mm.
So if you took a look at what Chip Wright looked like, you think he was Chuck Norris.
Oh, so he was
Yeah,
one of the stunt doubles? He
yeah.
did
So
his
you see
stunts
what
for him? Sorry, go
I
ahead.
think to the point when Mr. I think to the point when Chuck Norris got like hip surgery and he couldn't do like this his kicks like he
Yeah,
used to, like the spinning kick. I
yeah,
guess he asked Chip Wright to fill in to be his stunt. So if you see like a scene where his back is turned,
yeah,
you notice that you think it's him, but
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
actually Chip Wright doing his
yeah.
stunts.
I never heard of that name. Mind you, I haven't really followed Chuck in a long time since now that I've met you, I'm gonna be paying more attention. But from what I remember, I don't know if you've got insight into this. I remember his brother Aaron used to do a lot of his action sequences for him, and I think stunt work too. Don't quote me on that, but does that ring a bell? His brother doing that kind of stuff for you? In your mind, does that make any sense or no?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I know him and his brother was like in movies together.
Yeah,
I can't even think of one movie he was in. I think they were both karate instructors, and then Chuck Norris, like I think he was a cop or something. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I think mostly him and Aaron did a lot of things together.
I read it in black belt somewhere.
Mm.
And I should when you do come to Toronto, I'll share with you some of my old black belt collections. I've got black belt magazines all the way up to from 1982, man. I think the martial art community, when they look at Chuck Norris, he's a well respectable guy. He's one of those. He's kind of like, wouldn't you say, kind of like? Do you follow hockey? Do you follow hockey at all, or?
I probably like watch movies that involve hockey, like the Mighty Ducks. So yeah,
Yeah.
but not actual hockey.
Well, have you heard of he's a Canadian hockey player, Wayne Gretzky? Have you heard of him?
Oh yeah, I heard of him. Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky, yeah, he's a famous Canadian. And have you and let's go UFC. Have you heard of GSP, Georges Saint Pierre?
Oh yeah, I took a seminar last year at the convention. Yeah.
Right. So I mentioned these two guys because they're both Canadian. Number one, number two, uh, they're pretty well known to being very humble, just good dudes. You know what I'm saying? And so when
Yeah.
Chuck Norris is just one of those guys. everyone in the world kind of knows him as a positive dude. But anyway, since I got you on, let's get to know you a little bit better on a personal level. So, hobbies and pastimes, like what floats your boat on these kind of things? Like what makes you happy? What are some hobbies and pastimes that TJ Williams partakes in?
Other than TV and the video games, I know I have a liking in drawing, and
Oh,
I feel like other than like TV and video games, like that drawing is almost like my therapy to everything. You know, I got so good, and got so good in drawing that I of course I went to school and got a degree in arts, and I
okay.
felt yeah, I kind of got a little better. I wish I could get back into it right now because this is what happens when you're an adult. You end up having bills piled on you, but
Yeah.
I want to try to get back into it because like if I am selected for to be promoted to fifth degree, I want to like have like a championship belt design. So I
Oh,
want to like to have an idea to design my belt and have somebody make it. And then of course when I after I get promoted and I get my black jacket, that's pretty much been a tradition for me like now because when I got my third degree, I would have let me show you this. Yeah, this is like I would bring this championship belt with me and just like I would have this in one arm and then I'll have like my patch on my other arm. So yeah, so this
hmm.
is like the belt I would use. But once I get like a design going, I want to create my own championship belt and then kind of do the same thing what I did with this belt. So I
Oh, sweet.
like I said, yeah. So the thing that people was asking me how it felt to be a black belt, I usually tell them it felt like I just won the world heavyweight champion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's definitely an accomplishment. The last grading I had was we can talk about that actually. So
Yep.
so it's not about me today. It's about you. Like in a
Yeah.
nutshell though, just to share real quick, you get that high because you're working so hard for that, but then it kind of tapers off because then you realize that you're back to square one again and there's so much more to learn, right? But that's
Mhm.
me. But if you could pick, since we're on that topic, if you can pick a particular grading that stood out in your mind, what would it be, and like how did you feel about it, leading up to it, and then the aftermath? Like if you can think about a particular grading that you've been through.
Oh, most definitely my fourth degree black belt test. I mean, I will never forget the that test. No, none general. Like it was like other than the drive to from Niagara Falls to Boston with my instructor, that drive was almost crazy because we left like Niagara Falls like at midnight
Yeah.
and drove to Boston to like right around 7 o'clock in the morning. And of course, I had to go take the test, which of course it wasn't just me taking the test. It was like two other people. They were going for their third degree. Of course, I was going for my fourth. I mean, I got it worse than them because in our style of the Chuck Norris system, fourth degree is the last physical test that you take before being promoted to fifth degree. So of course they weren't gonna take it easy on me. They wasn't gonna hold me back. So in that test, I mean, other than doing the stuff that was required for the test, they gave me add-ons like of course they had me do a kata that wasn't on the test. They just want to see if I can do it.
Mm,
And to follow that up, I had to do like sparring techniques, and then they would add like different techniques. Like I would do jump kicks, rollouts, or do something else. But I was like almost out of it. I was like winded. It's like I felt like I was ready to throw up. But I knew this I earned this opportunity because I and for our organization or our style, we had to do a pre-test before we actually the actual test.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so for like the first time I took the fourth degree pre-test, I didn't pass. I failed. So I kind of had to figure out what I had to work on. Mostly, I had to work on endurance because, like, one, this is our last physical test,
Yeah.
and we had to take all the pounding and all the like all the techniques they were throwing. So I had to work on that. And in this case, I did a pre-test again, which I had to do it by myself because I nobody else didn't want to test with me.
Yeah.
So here I am pre-testing, and this was around the time that I lost my grandma. Yeah,
Oh,
so yeah, it's like been like 4 years now since I lost my last grandparent, and
yeah.
I'm going down there, and I kind of used her like her picture because nobody wasn't I didn't have anybody to come watch my test for like
Yeah.
that. So I kind of felt that it was like almost an inspiration for me. And it's
That's
like,
amazing.
yeah. So from that fourth degree test, here I am getting all this. Let's just say the testing board was just firing everything at me. From like this was like before I started doing katas, and then I
Yeah.
was like still winded. But when
Yeah.
things kind of came down, it got down to doing like one steps or flying kicks or even sparring, and then of course from there the test was over, and I'm just laying there waiting for the testing board to get done disgusting, and then from there I was promoted to fourth degree, and I was like, whew, that was since that's the last
Yeah.
physical test. I mean, I can retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. How long was that test, man? A couple hours or how was it?
I think it was like either an hour and a half or either 2 hours. I know it started at 7 and ended like about 11 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a couple hours. Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
over 3 hours actually. Yeah, that's intense, man. Oh man, that story about the grandma, um, that hit me. I was kind of tearing up a little bit because
Yeah.
I know the power of grandparents, man. My
Yeah.
my grandma would always be proud of me. Whenever I got a belt, in my karate, she loved fighting. Like she loved boxing. She'd love to see like Muhammad Ali, man.
Oh,
And because she's my grandma's a lot older than me. Obviously, she passed, I think, in 2000 and oh man, 2006, 2006,
okay.
2007. She passed. I remember during March break, man. And but prior to that, she would watch all of Ali's fights, and so she loved fighting. She loved to see all that, and whenever she'd see me do karate. So anyway, this whole grandma thing
Yeah.
hit strung a note with me, man. But no, I'm glad you shared that, man. Since we're talking about that, you talked about some techniques like spinning techniques and all this kind of stuff. Like what every martial artist that I know that I talk to, they've got their go-tos, right? They've got their go-tos from inspiring or tactical stuff. But some just like to just do certain things, right? Like for me, I like kata. I don't use it as my main tool for teaching, but I pull from other areas. But I love doing kata. But from a tactical point of view, I love trapping because I'm a short guy and I like trapping up hands, trapping up legs, and because I'm not very big. So usually, when I'm up against different kind of sizes, I have to resort to that. So, what's your go-to or favorite thing you like doing in martial arts, technique wise?
Well, I gotta say, my one good technique I can do very good was the jump spinning out crescent because mostly of
Oh,
Jean Claude Van Damme because I see how he does those he call them split kicks or helicopter kick. I always wanted to try to do that, but I can't even do a split still like he does. But that's like my one technique that I like to do a lot because I like to do a lot of jumping. And of course, that's why I end up having surgery on my knee because of my
right.
patellar tendon. I do a lot of jumping because that's why I call it probably that's probably the cause of is why it's ruptured because of all the jumping I do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
there's a lot of impact on Korean styles. I mean, the jumping anyway. I know, but by the way, speaking of your knee, how's that coming along? You getting better now, or are you on the up and up, or
Yeah, it seems like I'm doing like the normal stuff, like walking up the stair. I walk up the stairs normal and walking normally, and I'm
yeah,
able to do like exercises like squats, lunges, and I'll be able to get down to do a push up. But as far as like being the athletic stuff, jumping, running, and all that, I mean, I'm still working towards that. I've been doing well in therapy, so that's going well. So hopefully, I mean, they said roughly 6 months to a year that it will heal. So roughly, it's been 4 months. So I'm looking at probably March to see how things end up. And well, that depends what the orthopedic doctor says. So it could be 2 months or it could be like another 4 months, 6 months. But it determines of how I feel. So even if the
yeah.
doctor says differently, it depends of how I feel when I actually do activities.
I don't know if you've shared this with me, but did you go for surgery on that on your knee, or or will you go for surgery?
Oh yeah, I actually did. I got it
You did.
done in September,
Okay.
and as it feels like this is knee injury I got is like very rare. Like, how often do you hear like a patellar tendon snapping, or mostly you hear ACL, MCL? That's
Right,
like the
right.
common injuries you hear of like athletes. But I felt like mine is rare because you hardly hear about it. Just thinking of like wrestling wise, I mean, another wrestler had the same injury, Sting. So yeah, he had the same injury around the 90s, and and then after that, it's like I don't hear anything about anybody having a patellar tendon stab. It's just mostly ACL, MCL, and all those small tendons.
Yeah, I don't know why I skipped this, but you're a pro. You do pro wrestling. So tell us about that. How'd you get into that? What do you? How often do you do that? And like tell us all about that.
Of course, I've been a wrestling fan since I was 4, so mostly my brother was into wrestling before me. I basically grew up in the golden era of wrestling, mostly Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage,
Yeah,
Ultimate
man.
Warrior Andre the Giant.
I know all those
So
guys.
that
Well, I watched them anyway. Yeah,
yeah, so yeah, I mean, I was like pretty much watching wrestling from the golden era to like the Attitude era, and of course I started watching the attitude adjustment era. And of course, I took a break from watching it because I kind of lost my interest with it. And then of course, I heard like The Rock made a return in 2011, and I had to like watch and see what's going on with that. And then from there, I decided to kind of go into training in the wrestling because one of my friends that I grew up with or went to school with, like went to train the wrestling in Canada. So I went ahead and gone to the same school that they trained in. This was like around the time where I was going to attempt to go for my third degree, in which I failed the pretest. And then, I had to take a break from karate and kind of focus on something else.
yeah,
And then, of
yeah,
course, and then came back and retested for a pretest, and I passed. And of course, just took the test and passed that. So yeah, going into wrestling, you know, honestly, it came naturally to me because I was already trained in martial arts. So everything that I learned in wrestling is what I already learned in martial arts, and then it became something that I became prepared for. Like everything else, I had to like didn't come naturally because it was just new stuff. But just understanding like the techniques in wrestling, like how to roll, how to bump, of course, running, and how to do certain moves, which is similar to grappling
yeah,
or
yeah.
Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or even judo. So that's something I can do very well. But it got to the point where I learned about psychology, like how does a wrestling match work, and what do you need to do for your character, like how do you would you um, incorporate your character in a wrestling match. So
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm.
was the stuff I started learning. I other than going to training, like going across the border whenever I can, I go to seminars with either the top independent wrestlers or wrestlers that have been in the WWE or WCW or the big promotions, and I kind of get from what their experience and just kind of build my professional wrestling ability, and so from there, and that, I mean, I could tell you about my first match, of course. Yeah, yeah, it was like around.
Before you do though,
Okay.
just so that I understand. So you're in pro wrestling. Is this part of your job too now? So like, do you like go out to events where you're competing, you get paid for it, or do you do it like how does that work? Um,
Well, put it this way, like you have to get yourself out there. You can't just show up to a wrestling show and get on a show. You have to like show the promoter that
yep,
you have wrestling ability. Like say for instance, like if you go to a seminar and let's just say the wrestler hosting a seminar kind of say they pick somebody to like being like in a match, then of course, yeah, if you end up being that person being picked, then yeah, that's how you get booked. But nevertheless, you kind of have to almost go to shows and kind of help out, like setting up the ring and the
yep,
show. And the promoter kind of sees that you're like capable of like yeah, be like humble, like something like that. And then he asked you like, would you like a match? And that's pretty much how you get on the show, or you just like for if the school that you're training at, they have shows, then you know then that's why you get booked. So it wasn't just like you just sign up and then you're on the show, but it's like you pretty much have to work toward doing a good match, impressing the promoter.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So now you're in. Tell us about that memorable match or that first match of yours.
Oh yeah, I can always remember that match because of course this is around the time I had a driver's license but no car. I
Yep.
yeah, of course I walked across the border and waiting for my ride to get there because I was driving with a guy that I trained with, and of course it was him and the promoter of the of the promotion that I was going to, and this is gonna be a funny story that he told me that the ring that they was going to use for the show was stolen, so they had to use another ring, and of course it was like small ring because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more used to working in like a regular big ring, like you see in like WWE. It's like either 4 feet off the ground, but if you have a small ring, it's like either an inch off the ground or 2 feet off the ground. So that's like the small ring. But yeah, I yeah, we rolled up into Oshawa, Ontario for
Okay.
yeah, so
I know
I
where that
wasn't
is.
even
Yep.
yeah, so I guess he was like coming up with the card of the show because sometimes with some promoters they don't have a card for like the show, so they just pick people to like do matches. So here I am, I'm having my first match, and of course I wasn't expecting to win that match. I ended up winning by disqualification, and on top of all that, I ended up getting put into like a street fight match after
What?
that. So yeah, so
Oh,
after I get beat up by these the guy that I was wrestling some goons out there, and then I got these other two guys that I didn't know who they were. They tagged with me, and we do like this street fight.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everybody's getting hit with these like fiberglass lights and chairs and box. All I get hit with is this is gonna be funny. All I get hit with is a Tupperware plastic.
What?
Tupperware plastic. Yeah, I mean, we're fighting all over the place, and we get to the snack bar, and I'm just pummeling on this big guy here that looked like he could be like Hulk Hogan's brother, and and of course he took like one of Tupperware plastic and busted me upside the head, and you know. Just come to think of it, Tupperware kind of hurts a little bit
It
if you get hit
does,
right. Yeah,
especially if you're hitting the edge, like the hard parts,
yeah.
right?
It's, uh, Yeah, so anyway, that was like the two matches that I had like back to back, and of course, yeah, then that's pretty much the start of my wrestling career. Yeah.
That's cool, man. So wrestling career. So you do this then as would you say as a part-time job right now
Well,
or a
yeah,
full-time
almost like
job?
almost like a side job. Like whenever I get booked, then I wrestle. Don't expect to get booked every weekend. There's like a ton of promotions out there. Then you have to like reach out to promoters that are looking for new talent. So if they're saying they're looking for new talent, then you kind of go down. And if they ask you to like do sort of a practice match or show them a couple moves, and they'll like say they'll put you on a show. I mean, that pretty much happened to me in like one promotion in Buffalo. I mean, it still hasn't gone as well as it's not around anymore, but it was like in Riverworks. I don't know if you ever been in Riverworks before, but it was Riverworks Wrestling. The promoter. I contacted him and saying that I would like to be part of this show or be booked, and he's like telling me that like he wanted to check me out, so he had one of the like the top wrestlers kind of do like a couple things like chain and certain like a spot, and and then of course I got the okay, and then from there we did like TV tapings, and then I did like a jobber thing, and like the first jobber match that I actually did was actually the guy that I was actually doing a street fight with, and that hit me with the Tupperware. So I actually did an actual match with him, and he slapped me so hard in the throat, I ended up having a sore throat for a week.
Oh
And
man.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
that's the I just couldn't say the price of
Oh,
wrestling,
you
but
had
that's
to
like
take
hard hits. And
Yep.
for
Yep.
me,
When I was
yeah,
growing up as a kid in the 80s and stuff, all those wrestlers you mentioned where it was rampant back then. So and then later on, I think I saw some documentaries about Hulk Hogan and then also about Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I think he was a big wrestler at the time, The Rock, and his dad I think was a wrestler too, and his dad I think was a Canadian wrestler. If
yeah.
I or he played Canadian wrestler or I think, yeah, Canadian wrestler, and I think Dwayne played for the CFL as well for a short time, Canadian
Yeah.
Football League. But yeah, no, and then watching those documentaries and little shows, about these guys, they gave me an idea that wrestling is not what you pro wrestling people think is fake, but there's a lot of contact, man, especially when you're doing all that choreography. This people get hurt bad, right? Let's take a snapshot of a day in the life of TJ Williams. What does that look like from you wake up till nighttime? What does your day look like?
Well, mostly, like I say, I of course wake up and I just do my normal morning routine. Usually, I work out. Either lift weights or I'm on the treadmill for like a half an hour to an hour, and then of
Yeah,
course I'll take my shower, get ready for work. I work at auto detail or auto collision shop right
yeah,
now. Of
yeah.
course, I work as an auto detailer. All I do is like wash the outside of cars as well as detail inside of cars after they get repaired.
Yeah.
And of course, from there, I either teach a class in teach a karate class or I teach a fitness class. So yeah,
Nice.
so yeah.
Out of Presti, or do you teach it at a different location?
Well, for karate, I teach at Preston. That's my main school that I teach out from. But it's like far as fitness, I could teach like in this case the studio or the gym I teach at is Crunch Fitness. It used to be World Gym, but it
Yeah.
was bought off by Crunch like say like couple years ago. I teach their Crunch brand classes, but like before the pandemic, I was teaching like in five different places. I would teach in above UB. I'll be doing like body combat, or I'd be teaching like the classes that I create on my own. And
Right.
I would go to like go out like different places to see if I can teach. That became something big for me, like mostly because it's of fitness, like me getting out, going on a fitness journey.
So when you teach fitness, do you teach it like a personal training level, or is it group fitness?
Well, yeah, group fitness. I feel like that's better for me. Group fitness. I got an army of people.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that's how I am. It's like I rather when I'm training my army, I'm fighting with my army. I'm not just watching them work out. I'm working out with them and making sure they do.
Oh,
Yeah, I make sure they do their exercises like all right. I make sure they're all right. So I'm not just standing there just like saying do this, do that. I'm doing them with them.
my wife would love to hear you say these words because she's a school teacher like me, but she's a part-time fitness instructor at nighttime. Like now she's got more schedule more training now filling up her evenings. Do you remember you said you I think you took some Les Mills programs? Do you remember the Les Mill
Yeah.
body attack or something like this? You were saying or you wanted to? I can't remember. Um,
Well, yeah. I know. I like when our World Gym like before they changed the trunch, there was introducing these new Les Mills classes. Like the first one I took was body combat, which I
right,
am certified in, and then of course there was body pump. Yeah,
right.
that was another class I took, and then of course I didn't train to be an instructor in it, but I mean mostly body combat is like my best class I teach, mostly because of my martial arts background. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, I've
yeah,
done like a body attack class. They had this like big events over at Riverworks. They teach like 30 minutes of body combat, body attack, body pump, and I think it was there was another class, CX Works,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
think there was another hit class. I don't know what it's called, but
So,
man,
do you have your Les Mills certification or something? Are you
yeah, I still
certified through
have
them?
it. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
I did the initial training like in 2016. It was a
Yeah,
2 day training.
yeah,
And it was like the instructor that was actually doing it. It was like pretty humble, and I don't want to feel like I was like cornered, but it was like I felt like I was like the only male in there with all these women.
yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
the
It is
thing with
female
fitness.
dominant. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like I feel embarrassed a little bit, but this is something I choose to do. That
yeah.
it's like yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I told my wife in order to support her this year some more, and also just to get in better shape. Like I'm going to be taking some of her classes, and just so I got a small ten class membership at her fitness center that she trains out of in the evenings, and I go there, and yeah, it's mostly women. I get embarrassed, but after a while, I'm getting my ass beat with the workout, so I'm just can't be bothered focusing who's around me, man. I'm just trying to keep up.
Yeah.
But now, man, that's a pretty good background. So, pro wrestling guy, martial art guy, um, you've got some side jobs, and then your fitness guy. Like that's really cool, man. Um, so we're turning over a new leaf, fresh new leaf in 2023. Um, I'm sure you're thinking about. I know I saw some of your posts. You're very positive and you're motivating people to start thinking and being positive and giving towards the community and stuff. Um, what's your goals for 2023, man?
I guess number one, the one thing I was thinking about, of course, I want to be totally healed with my knee surgery. I
Yes.
mean, yeah, I want to be back to my old self. I want to be out running, like doing like 10-mile runs. And
Yep.
I was like, even before I got injured, I was thinking of doing like a 10K or like a half marathon because like at one time I actually ran 10 miles. If I was to run like 3 more miles, I mean that'd be like a half marathon.
Yep.
So that was like something that I was really wanting to do. So hopefully if I am healed enough, I want to try to compete in my first half marathon. So I really got really trained to get myself up to run again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
You got to get your
Yeah,
knee
that's
better first. Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah, and probably another goal is master ranks if I'm elected or selected. Yeah, so I want to be ready for that to make sure that I've taken all the classes, and then from there, if I am selected, to come up with a 2 minute performance, which won't
Wow.
be a problem. It's like all music and yeah, kind of like a performance like we do with demo competition. So yeah, that's another goal and
Yeah.
just to teach more classes, like mostly fitness and martial arts. I really enjoy teaching these kids. Like this morning, yeah, like the class I was covering for my instructor, these are some good kids. And the
Yep.
thing is, that my goal with that is not to do too much lecturing and more training. The thing with lecturing, it kids get so bored
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
they're
The
just doing the
attention
same
span.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so really, you got to try to figure out like some type of game that they can play
Yep.
that was one it's not it's fun but it's like educational. It's like it shows them like whatever they're lacking they can work on getting better. So that's something that I like to do more than just lecture. I just want to make I lecture so much because I want to see these kids doing the right techniques, but it gets kind of boring kind of for them because their kids their thought process is they want to play,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in my mind, I'm just lecturing them because for one, the things that are going on in the world today, I don't want them to be like a recipient of what's going on there. It's like
Yeah.
all these shootings and all, and of course all these things happening. So I don't want things happen to them because the things like I've seen so far, like the people I train with, either they're like something happened to them or like something bad happened to them. So that's I don't want them getting mixed up with that.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Being a positive role model, man. I know that's why you're here. I usually I source out some pretty positive speakers, and you're one of them. So I'm really glad you're here, man. Um,
Yep.
since we're talking about goals and things, 5 year and 10 year goals. I don't know if it's that too far out to stretch, but maybe in 5 years from now, where do you see yourself in terms of your career or your martial arts? Um,
Uh, well, look at this way for pro wrestling. If I get far enough, and you know, likely I won't get a contract to like the WWE because
yeah,
they're looking for those young competitors. But luckily, if I get like a contract to like a good promotion, I mean that could be something that I'm kind of go to. But other than that, I probably like to, of course, train more students in martial arts, or maybe one day if it was possible, kind of take over my instructor's studio, or even make my own studio. Mostly it could be just mainly fitness, and somewhat I can probably teach self-defense.
Yes.
And probably on top of that, if I'm lucky enough, I can get a wrestling ring in there and train young wrestlers. Like if they want to get in like professional wrestling, I could teach them the fundamentals and like get them started.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to probably get them to WWE or other promotions, but at least I can show them like the psychology behind wrestling, what you need to do, the moves. So that's something I think about going. And likely, I don't know if I can if this be possible. I'm good at podcasting,
Yeah.
so I'd be surprised if I actually did this as a job.
That would
But
be great. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's fun, man. It's fun, isn't it, to meet different people and just chat and um like do you have any do you have any podcast famous podcasters that you look up to that inspires you?
uh, and there's like a lot of them I could think of. Oh boy.
Well, I like Joe Rogan. He's
Oh yeah, he's good. Yeah.
he's an OG in that space. Um can you
Oh
think
yeah,
of
I usually
any that yeah that you like listening to like on a regular basis or
yeah, I usually watch listen to Stone Cold's podcast.
oh,
Yeah, so
Stone
yeah,
Cold
Stone
Steve
Cold.
Austin? That guy?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know he has
yeah,
a podcast. He has a good voice
yeah.
though. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know I was watching another podcast of before he died, Larry King. He did like a
Okay.
podcast. You my favorite episode is when he was with Mr. T. It's
Oh
like I
yeah.
watched that one on YouTube a lot, and it's like Mr.
Yeah.
T. That'd be somebody I like to meet too. Mr. T. If I don't know what he's doing nowadays, but he's pretty much someone like if he talks to you, listen.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Up
felt
to the
that.
pool.
Yeah, I getting on the
Yeah.
plane.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. T. Yeah, we grew up in that genre, man, of Mr. T. Like back in the day, man, we would for Halloween, people would be wearing mohawks and acting like Mr. T, and like no one cared about racism and anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just everybody's way too sensitive now. But anyway.
Yeah, man. Those was a show back then. The A-Team, what was it Airwolf, and
Yeah.
you had Knight
Airwolf.
Rider.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a good thing I got Peacock, so I can actually watch those episodes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We're just spitballing here. Famous pro wrestler, man. You must have one. Favorite,
I'm
favorite pro wrestler.
honestly, I would say Hulk Hogan right now, but
Yeah.
I all I gotta say is The Rock.
The
The
Rock,
Rock.
eh?
Yeah.
Why? Why is your pick?
Oh yeah, he's got to have that like good persona. Like this personality kind of changes throughout his like wrestling career, and like he becomes like kind of like this famous person, or like million dollar man type of guy. And then of course he gives like he changes persona. It's like I don't want to be messed with. And then of course he becomes like this funny, like after acting, he becomes like this funny comedian and
Yep.
does all these impersonations. But yeah, he has like so much charisma. It's like you wanted to like talk like The Rock or actually do the moves like he did. So that pretty much made him like my favorite guy to like actually watch as a when I was like mostly the Attitude Era. But not to take anything from Hulk Hogan, I grew up with him, and yeah, he had that same persona, like other than like being Hollywood Hogan, but he was like that real American hero, like Captain America. So that was like basically him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like those guys. But this is cool, man. Is there any closing thoughts that you'd have, like advice that you want to give to the world, and I should say anything you'd like to promote? This is a great opportunity to do that.
Okay, I got three things that I like to like tell the viewers out there. Like for one, don't always go by what you know,
Mm,
always go beyond what you know.
mm.
So really, or just yeah. So just think about it. Like for me, like for a fitness instructor or even a karate instructor, I just don't teach like about like like the techniques, like in martial arts or in fitness. I go beyond it, saying like fitness or no nutrition or even anatomy. Like for martial arts, I talk about anatomy, like how important it is to make sure your ligaments and the muscles are taken care of. Like, so if you're doing like exercising properly, you're not going to work that muscle properly. So yeah, or also nutrition. Like you come to a class, you want to make sure you have some type of something to eat, like something's gonna give you energy. So yeah, usually that's problem with most students. Like if they come from school straight to karate, they're not gonna have that energy to do like karate. So I say, like always come in, like drink some water, Gatorade, or maybe have a piece of fruit, so you have that energy for class. So roughly it's an hour of your time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting that hour exercise that you need every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, all right, so another one, if you're always worried about the small things that can be replaced, you're gonna sell yourself out to the sell yourself short on the big things that can't. So
Mm.
yeah. So if you're always worried about like small things like money or like, if you lost your like um like something that could be easily replaced, you
Like a
worry about
material
a
thing.
glad
Yeah.
yeah, some material things, but if you worry about that, you're gonna sell yourself short the big things like, you only got one family, you got only one family, you
Yep.
got one mother, you got one father, you got one brother, you got sisters, you got your family. So if you're worried about small things, you're selling your family out. Oh, that
Yeah.
was and like one more. As lastly, be authentic. Basically be
Yeah.
real with people as well as yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
that's the problem with people nowadays. It's like they can't be real with people. This is like people get their Facebook accounts hacked, and you got that one person that's like pretending to be that friend that you have on Facebook, and the next they're asking for money. Then next you get stiff, and you don't know who they are, and then they could be like some hacker like from a different country, and
yep.
they got your money, and
Yep.
in this case, it's you can always get your money back. Money could be replaced, but let's just say that person just like you keep the money, but don't expect me to like ever be grateful for stiffing me because you want to be somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
these are great advice. I like your last one.
yeah,
Your last two, it was amazing. I can't, all of them were great, but the last two were strong. I mean, don't sweat the small stuff and be real, man. And
yep,
that's what and this is a consistent message that I've seen you, post out, and just even from just the vibe I getting off you, man. You're a good guy.
yeah,
Keep doing what you're doing, and it was an honor to have you on the channel. And yeah, so follow TJ Williams, folks, on the Kick Pod. I'm gonna put posts, links to Presti Karate, where you could maybe take a class if you're in the New York. What state are you at? You're in New York, right? Niagara
yeah.
Falls, New
New York,
York.
yeah, Western New York area.
Nice, nice, nice. So yeah, man. Check him out. Check out his podcast, and all the best, guys. Happy New Year, 2023. One love, and Chris Hansen signing out. Peace.
Yeah.